about the person that's kind of in it, like kind of struggling right now, and they're saying, Justin, it sounds really good. This sounds amazing to me to be able to convert my pain. But what's the first step in that pain conversion? And maybe a specific that you've experienced as far as pain, so it can make it personal for them.
Yeah, look, I'll give you an example for me. I'll give you an example for me. I remember my very first business. I remember the guy that I worked for. The company I worked for. The president of the company calls me and basically goes, "Hey, I've heard you've started this business." So I was still working in my job, but I was going to ultimately kind of phase out eventually and have my business be big enough to run my business. So I heard you're starting this new business. I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And he said, "Well, you'll be able to succeed. You'll be able to succeed." He goes, "It's probably gonna take you maybe 5 years." And I don't even know if most people can't succeed because they can't hang in there for 5 years. And he kind of just tried to tear me down. He did actually a few different things through the years to try and tear me down. One of which is he fired me on December 21st. I was the number one sales guy in the entire company. So I had no disciplinary issues. As a number one sales guy, he fired me right before Christmas, and it was a really painful time. At the time, I needed that income on a weekly basis, and it just fired me up so much. I mean, on one hand, it almost cripples you. You almost just want to say mercy, and just wave the white flag, like I can't do this thing anymore. But I just was like, I'm not gonna give up. So here's what I did. One of the things I think we can do is I said to myself, he just guaranteed my success. My success just went from either impossible or improbable to inevitable. Because remember, there's 5 stages of certainty. By the way, Kelly, here's a question to ask. Guess how certain we are of things that we're certain about? Well, pretty certain. You are pretty certain about things you're certain about. So there's 5 stages. The lowest stage of certainty is impossible. If something's impossible, you're not going to give it very much time, energy, or effort. Why? Because it's completely impossible. Why would you go chase that? The next stage up would be improbable, or I'm so sorry, would be possible. So you have to go from it's impossible to at least it's possible. Now, listen, it may not be possible for you in your mindset, but it is possible in the world. Cool. That's a big step. Next one up was improbable. So I know it's possible, but the odds of me hitting this are improbable. Like the deck is stacked against me. Next up would be probable. So probable is it's not only possible, and the it's not improbable. In other words, the deck's not stacked against me. The deck's actually stacked in my favor. It's like the odds of this panning out are high. Okay. Then what's the last step? Inevitable. Inevitable is it's guaranteed to happen. Inevitable is I will persist until I succeed. It's not over until I win. I remember when with that guy, and by the way, I could give you many other times where someone kind of tore me down, ripped me down, and I thought to myself, you just guaranteed my success. Just like, dude, it may take me 6 months, it may take me 6 years, but I guarantee that I will have the last laugh. It's not over until I win. I will overcome this. And again, that was pain. That was pain. That was gunpowder. That burned really hot. But what I did is I went through a conversion process where you get clear on your mission, principles, values, purpose, and that's the stuff that will burn long term. And by the way, I have no problem with you burning on gunpowder for the next 3 months or 6 months or 6 weeks. Cool, good for you. Get yourself in action, get going. But you got to say to yourself, that hurt that I just experienced, the pain that I'm feeling right now. My first business failed. I'm living in the loft of my wife's parents' garage. I have my pregnant wife and now 2 kids. 2 kids are sleeping in the closet. I'm working 2 part-time jobs, sleeping in the little loft. I work all weekday doing weekdays doing one job, all weekend doing another job. I'm starting another business. I'm 27 years old. I'm a grown man. I live in the United States of America, and I'm living in the loft of my in-laws' garage with 2 part-time jobs. I'm like, what the freak am I doing with my life, And I just kept converting that stuff from pain into fuel. Just let it fuel my future. And I literally was like, I am not going to lose because I'm going to basically die trying. I'm like, I'm not going to be the guy that I'm either going to win or I'm going to die trying. And that's literally was the attitude. And I'm not going to let them have the last laugh. And I look back at it now. You want to know what's so interesting also? I remember thinking to myself, I was going to put the guy that was the president of that company, I was going to put him on this is when I was 25, 26 years old. I was going to put him on like an auto ship of my check stubs. I was just going to in other words, just like show him the growth of my business and just like checkmate every month. And it, at first that kind of drove me. After a while, that stuff, I was just like, ah, dude, that was like, it's just, you just move past, kind of that pettiness of it, just the hurt of it, more into like, no, I'm just here to serve people. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of shifted it from like, I'll get you, I'll show you, to more like, no, no, it's not about him anymore. But I did use that. I did say, you just guaranteed my success. I did say that stuff. I teach in my book, I teach how to have a 3D vision. So check this out, Kelly, because I think this could help as well. 3D vision is where you can look at your vision from all different angles. And by the way, you say, why is a vision so important? A vision answers a question that everyone subconsciously has. So in other words, your children have this when they're going through really hard times with your 15-year-old, and they're hanging out with the wrong kids, and they've got some addiction issues, and they're going through some challenges. They're asking this question. So as a parent, you need to have an answer to this question. When you're going through a hard time in your business, revenues are down, sales are down, teams discouraged, customers are quitting, you need to answer this question for the team and for your employee base. When you're in a marriage and it's a dark night in the marriage, it's a really challenging time in the marriage, you need to be able to answer this question. What is the question? The question is, will it always be this way? Will it always be this way? The teenager's asking, Mom, Dad, is it always going to be this way? That they're asking it subconsciously. When the business is struggling, people are asking, is it always going to be this way? Because if the answer is it's always going to be this way, people make very different decisions than when there's vision. What does vision provide? Provides hope, provides a reminder that the sun's coming up in the east tomorrow. We're going to work through this. This is a challenging time. We're going to get through it. When the marriage without a vision will fail. Why? Because they think if it's always going to be this way, you know what? Forget this. I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay. So vision's critical to pulling a business forward. So there's 3 Ds. First D is you want to define your vision. What is your vision for the future? The next 3 months, 6 months, 5, 1 year, 5 years. Let's define this thing. Let's cast this thing out. So Brendon Burchard wrote a book called High Performance Habits, biggest study of high performers in human history. And he said that when they interviewed high performers, if you were to tap a high performer on the shoulder and you were to ask them, what is your latest dream? What is your latest goal? Or what is your latest vision? A high performer can answer that question 7 to 10 seconds faster than the rest of the population. Why? Because they define the vision. They have a kind of a clear vision. They've taken time to define it. They know what they're trying to accomplish. Visions and dreams on the back of your mind won't motivate you. This stuff should be on the tip of your tongue. Dominant thought, burning desire. You think about this stuff. It's defined in your mind of am I looking to hit? Your mind works on a reticulated activating system. It's basically like a heat-seeking missile. Like your mind can figure stuff out, but you've got to have clarity in the definition and define what you're trying to do. Second thing is you want to declare it. So you don't want to keep a vision a secret. You want to declare it to people that can support you and say, hey, Kelly, you got this, bro. You got this. Go knock this thing out. You got this, dude. By the way, I'll hold you accountable. I'll cheer you on. I'll support you. And you say, well, man, I don't have a lot of people like that in my life. Listen, find somebody. And the ones that say you're an idiot, take some, there's wisdom in counsel, don't get me wrong, but also take some of that and convert it from okay, you just guarantee I'm going to figure it out now, So you declare it. And then the third thing is you dedicate your life to it. You dedicate your life to your vision. So you define it, you declare it, and you dedicate. And you say, I'm going to go make this thing happen. I'm going to learn the skills. I'm going to build skill above my talent. I'm going to pay the price. There's a price for failure. There's a price for success. You have to fight for success. We talked about that earlier. This stuff is not given. Success is leased. It's not owned. And rents due every single day. You've heard these concepts. It's true. You got to go fight for this stuff. And so that's kind of what I would share is man, get in there and say, I'm going to, it's not over till I win. Define it, declare it, and then go dedicate yourself to it.